Thank you. Our next question is to Mr. Taraya, and it's from Martha Shanahan.
Mr. Taraya, towns in the district and across the state are encouraged, often encouraged to regionalize their services and to cooperate with each other across town lines to help alleviate tight budgets. What would you do if you were elected to encourage regional cooperation and support towns in their effort to do that?
Well, I know here in Connecticut that our government tends to be more municipalities, local on city levels. So if we're having, I'd like to try to bring back more kind of county, like for our waste management system to not only take care of a few towns but more countywide. Again, it helps out, alleviates some of the restrictions or the burdens that most like individual cities and municipalities need to carry. So it'd be great to have kind of a not necessarily county governments on legislative or even judicial branches, but just have it more of geographic wide and expand on that.
And Representative Ryan, what have you done and what can be done to try to encourage more regionalization, if you think that's a direction we should consider?
Of course, it's something we've encouraged a great deal. I've been a chair of the subcommittee of more looking at municipal efficiencies on what we can do in that regard. As you know, more is a committee that Speaker Shockey formed a few years ago to kind of look at this issue on the broad spectrum to see what towns can be doing, working together more effectively to kind of save costs so we don't have duplicative services. A recent example is some of the towns near me kind of have started sharing equipment, which they've done in the past. I think, for example, Montville shares a street sweeper with another couple of communities, and I think we've seen other towns doing it. That kind of, as this equipment gets more expensive, doing that more. Some of the collaboratives, like with Project Learn, have worked to deal with energy costs, which is always a big factor in this state, to kind of to work regionally to kind of cut down their costs there. And at the educational level, we do that a great deal with programs like Project Learn. We're trying to use a carrot and stick approach, not trying to force people to do things, but giving them incentives that would encourage them to work together so they can, save money and be more efficient in the services they provide their communities.
Just to follow Mr. Taraya, the representative talked about the carrot approach to try to have incentives to look for regionalization efficiency. Given the fiscal situation of the state, do you think that's adequate? Would you be more aggressive in trying to force some more regional cooperation and efforts on that point?
There's going to be times where we need to put incentives and also push for, not necessarily forcing or mandating, but we need to just be more efficient and be more effective. So I can't blanket say we're going to give incentives to everything and everyone's going to do what we want to. But the government needs to really push for effectiveness. So, a little bit of both to answer your question there.
Next question from David Collins, and it's to Representative Ryan.